Welcome to the Simple Guide to Looking Hot podcast. I am your host, Alexandra Wood. Each month, I'll be exploring the highs and lows of business and how style forms a huge part of building a personal brand. I bring a modern twist to the often stuffy world of bespoke tailoring, and in each episode, I'll get the measure of my guests, from fashion faux pas to business seminars. So let's get cracking. Welcome to another episode of The Simple Guide to Looking Hot. And today I have my guest, Andrew Heffernan, because his name is not Heffernan, who is a private chef to celebrities and non-celebrities, because everybody counts. So without further ado, here's Andrew. And I was just trying to remember where I met you. And we were meant to go to the same event. And you kind of get a list of everyone that's there. And I didn't know if you were there or not because there's loads of people. Yeah. And so I thought, I'm just going to go and find some of these people on LinkedIn. And for some reason, I was drawn to you. I was like, oh, private chef, that sounds kind of cool. So I sent you a message and then we met up. And here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, no, it's great. It was meant to be.
Exactly. So it'd be really cool to tell our audience a bit about what you do and what made you choose to be a private chef and what that means versus being a non-private chef.
Look, I guess, I got into, like many chefs got into food and cooking because I was passionate about food and service and its hospitality as a whole. Always really enjoyed it. Always got a lot of fun and pleasure from it. Taking it on as an actual career is slightly different. But very fortunate to get involved in it from a young age. And I guess, I moved to London from Ireland and got into private chefing because I was, like many chefs, working for my CV in Michelin restaurants. So you're not exactly getting paid the most, but you are building an incredible CV, getting loads of exposure to incredible ingredients, incredible chefs. And you're kind of working with your tribe or your people. So it's really energizing and invigorating. Private chefing happened was because basically I needed a bit more cash.
Love the honesty there.
Yeah, no, that's how we got into it. I was very, very lucky to be kind of under the umbrella of a woman called Kirsty Stanley Hughes from KSH Management, probably one of the best chef's agents in the world. And I said, Kirsty, I need money. So she ended up putting me onto this private job that was supposed to be 2 days. It went really well. And it turned into about 8 years.
Oh, and who was that with, if we're allowed to ask?
I always get uncomfortable, awkward saying it. It was very random. I didn't know who it was. I get into this house. It was beautiful, a lovely estate. And there sitting at the table is Elton John.
Very
his hand
cool.
out. And I was still at the time very much in that kind of like kitchen chef mentality of like, yeah, cool, lovely to meet you. Can I kind of crack on and earn my money, please?
Yeah.
and something obviously worked. And I kind of done that then for Elton and David for a long time, and it was a lot of fun, and I got a lot out of it personally and professionally, and yeah, very grateful.
So do you literally cook like every meal? Like, how does it go? Do they go, I need some porridge? Or is that weird? Like they do their own breakfast? Like what meals do you cook?
It all depends, like you get some jobs where it is breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Most private chef jobs are lunch and dinner. And you would have, then you stock up the fridge with snacks. And you might get things ready for the breakfast in the morning, or if there's a nanny or something, you might get some of the prep done for the kids. So it's a bit simpler for them in the morning. That could be from soaking porridge, making bursted muesli, making a pancake mix, kind of whatever is really required. But yeah, like that's kind of, there's a lot of variety in kind of private chefing roles. Some private chefs, it's literally just dinner and snacks.
I think this is the absolute dream. I mean, my husband does all the cooking. My mum actually gave me a postcard once because we've got 3 kids. And I think it said, feed the kids again. Are you kidding? I did it yesterday. That's pretty much me. And she was like, you're very lucky to have found Daniel who cooks, but he gets a bit annoyed, I think. He's like, and I go, what's for dinner? And he goes, I don't know, look in the fridge. I'm like, well, I'm not cooking it.
Yeah. Look, it's kind of like, I guess it's when cooking becomes a chore, it's not very fun.
Mm.
You know, like it's different if you're doing it from a professional point of view because it's your job and you're, particularly with private chefing, hopefully you find the right private chef job, the right family, and you're getting lots of exposure and lots of connections in the community, from fishmongers to butchers to veg suppliers. You know, and are talking to the gardeners out there every day, picking stuff, getting involved in what the seasonal growth is going to be for next year.
Yeah.
But when it's at home, even for yourself, even for myself, I'm like,
I was going to say, like, what
in the air
happens?
fryer.
Yeah, it's like, I can't be bothered. Little sprinkle.
Yeah.
I know, because if I have a dinner party, I kind of go completely over the top, like scallops and this and that. It's like, why is this happening? I'm like, because people are coming round, you know. And,
but it's a good reason.
But
you know,
fish fingers for the kids, you know, and even for me.
Fish fingers.
Exactly. It's a fish finger sandwich with ketchup. Nice.
I had one a few weeks ago. I was craving it. I went in and bought my pack.
Nothing better.
Oh, it was amazing. It was brilliant. It was just, it's that kind of food is often stuff that people want in private households. You know, like it's great to get the chef that has, if he or she has been a head chef of a Michelin restaurant or had their own Michelin star, all these incredible things. But at the end of the day, we're all creatures of habit. And we'll always want the kind of nostalgic classics where it's beans on toast. It could be
good roast.
Smoked kippers, roast. You can't beat a roast.
Actually, one of my best friends since I was 9, her boyfriend cannot cook, well, now husband, cannot cook to save his life. And she said they were really hungover once. And she was like, there's always mad rustling. He went out and she's like, what? How was he doing? And then he came back and he went, Tana, beans on roast. She went, it's the most
beans
vile
on roast.
Beans on roast, yeah. I never forget that story.
Everyone for their own. You know, if you like it, you like it.
Yeah, she was just like,
judge.
She went, it was chicken, it was roast potatoes, and then just like beans on top. So it's random.
Yeah, that's a bit random.
It was very random. I'd love to ask, I don't know if you can answer what their favourite dish was.
Oh, look, it's kind of, it could change week to week or month to month, you know, but I think the home classics, like Sunday roast, that's the one that just throughout the whole year is the big one. I think the majority of people love spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah. True.
Simple as it is.
Nice.
Shepherd's pie, you know, with cauliflower mash, that was always a good one.
Yeah.
But it is that, like, it is oftentimes the simpler food that people kind of go towards more often. And then it's like, you know, as a private chef, if you're given a recipe from their grandmother or it was something that they found in a cooking magazine, it's like, how do you interpret that? How do you put your own spin on it? Keep it quite simple. You know, you're not trying to invent the wheel, but they are paying top dollar for a private chef. Yeah. And they expect that a little bit more. And that's when your kind of backlog of years of experience and knowledge kind of comes into play.
Yeah.
Just kind of being humble about it as well is kind of very important.
Yeah. And with your career, what's been like your biggest motivation and inspiration?
I think fear of failure is a big one.
Yeah.
Always has been for me. Still have it. I think I forever will.
Yeah.
I've been exceptionally lucky in the people that I've met in this trade. Been very lucky with people that have taken me under their wing. But they're all like incredibly successful, and they're far.
So are you?
Well, I think you can look at success in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, it looks very different for different people, doesn't it? But yeah, I have been very lucky to work with some incredible chefs. You know, both as my head chefs and as my peers. You know, and they're the kind of people I kind of in the back of my head or in the background still chasing, very quietly and never really say it out loud. But yeah.
So what does success look like to you? What would be like, that's it, I've made it, to be the best, to work with someone?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for me it becomes a broader question. It would go beyond my career. It goes into, like, that stretches into personal life. And, you know, like, who are the people in your life? You know, I think that's true wealth. Yeah. When you have good people that you can depend on, rely on, who are there for you, you're there for them. You can be honest. I think that's real wealth. You know, people, again, they have their own kind of scales or like how they measure things. It could be financial. It could be like, oh, well, I have the car, how's the watch? Yeah. Have the house here and the chalet there. for me, that's never been it. It's always, who are the people in my life? Am I waking up smiling? Am I making my bed in the morning?
Yeah.
It's the smaller
I
things.
didn't make
Yeah,
my bed.
I know. And I didn't make mine this morning because I was in a rush. But I think for me, that's it. Regards kind of, I guess if we just kind of brought it back to career, with my company now, Manifest Chef, Manifest for me from the first placement that we'd done, because my company is a private chef's placement company, and then we have fine dining events as well. From the first moment we'd done a placement for a chef called Ben Howarth, I rang my business partner and said, it's forever successful now. Because we'd done a great job, had a phone call with the chef, with Ben, and we went through the contract and values in it. It's not all about money. And he was just blown away. And I was almost crying on the phone. I was so happy that I was able to contribute something that was a bit more than just food.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
that's really cool. I think, everyone wants money, no one wants to do anything for free. But I think if it's like your main thing, like doing it for the money, doing it for money, like it's just soulless. My thing is helping men to look more like essentially sexy, and that to me, like the other day I saw one client go down the escalator in the tube and one come up and they're wearing different things. I was like, but they're wearing the stuff I designed. I was like, oh my God.
So you had, oh wow, that's quite... That doesn't happen too often in London.
I saw you in the tube. And and I thought, that's proud, like with all the brands and stuff. So it's like the same with you. It's that heart and feeling of what a business means to you. And then you should be rewarded. But it doesn't go hand in hand, I don't think at all. So
I think it's like when things become overly transactional. Like whereas if I'm cooking for a client, which I don't get to do as much anymore as I would like to because we're so busy with Manifest, placing other chefs, or if it's with, like actually sitting down with a client trying to find out what are their values, what are they really looking for in a chef. If it's overly transactional, I get very bored. I'm not interested. I like to just like focus on the people, focus on the personalities. How can, after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, if I send an email to the chef and to the client, how's it going? And they're like, amazing, really happy.
That should be the driver.
Yeah, that's it.
It was all right. That's like not great,
exactly.
is it?
And it's like, in London, I think a lot of people focus on the bank account in 3 months' time, the kind of rat race, where we're more like, let's focus on 5 years' time. Let's lay down the foundations, enjoy what we're doing. And yeah, it's kind of that, have a bit of fun, which I think you seem to have a lot of fun with what you do, Alex. So
I try. Everyone's sort of like, oh, you're so chill and having fun. I'm like, because you'll know that you've kind of got to be responsible for everything, drive everything forward. I've got a family, I've got a business. Sometimes things don't always go, well, very rarely go smoothly. And I'm very hypercritical of myself and what I want from the business. I'm like, it has to be perfection, but that doesn't even exist.
Do you think that kind of also, I guess there's negative connotations with that, but also positives? Do you think that's driven you to the success that you've had so far?
I've learned not to be quite so control freaky in terms of like, you can't micromanage everything, but you can definitely hire the right people and set expectations. And I think that's really key. And then letting people kind of feel free to kind of be like, this is what we're trying to achieve, but feel free to kind of do what they think's right within that, because otherwise you're just making everyone else feel fearful. Which brings me to my next question, which is what have been the highs and the lows? Because in business, we know there are definitely highs and there are definitely lows. So what have been yours?
I guess kind of touching upon what you just said, things don't always work out. You put I think if you're kind of like, I think we're quite similar in many ways. My approach to everything is like, how can we do the best job? It's not about, are we getting value for this? Like, are we getting paid for this work? You put so much into it. You literally like, sound dramatic, but you put your heart into it. You really kind of go the extra mile, and then things just don't work out, and it's totally out of your control.
Yeah.
And then, kind of naturally for me, then I'm like, become hypercritical. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, how did that happen? Why? How did they see that?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you talk to people who you respect and who are your mentors, and you go through the whole thing, and they're like, "No, that wasn't you." And you're like, "Oh, but
Yes.
and you're like, "No, it wasn't." That's kind of lows, and I think that's part of business, and something that I've become much better at dealing with. And rolling with the punches, I guess. Just accepting that not everything has to work out. There's always lessons to be learned, and it's never it's always feedback, not failure.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way
I
to
think
look at it.
everyone's done some random shizzle. I mean, sometimes
Shizzle.
shizzle's gonna sometimes I've done things and been like so convinced it was a good idea, and I'm like, cringe, like that was so bad. And the thing is, my clients will say, "Alex, I love you, but what was that?" And I go, "I know, but
Give it an example. I want to. Come on.
I think it's just sort of like trying to take the business in a different direction, which I was like for about 10 minutes convinced of, and then I was like, no, it's just not me. And it goes back to the heart. It's like, I love my clients. Like, that might sound a bit weird, but I genuinely like want their success as well. So when it just doesn't feel right, like I don't feel connected, I'm like, no, that's bad. And then I'll sort of look back on it again and kind of go, that was just weird. Like messaging, or I don't mean like messaging clients midnight, but I mean like marketing messaging, looking back and go, that was random. But I think that can be quite related to fear. If I don't push forward and I don't try new things constantly, then I won't be where I want to be. But actually things can be slower, calmer, and just listening to your heart and what the client feedback is. And simplicity really is actually key.
I think that word is a big word. It's like simplicity. Just always keep it simple. Focus on the quality. It doesn't have to be complicated. I think, the transition between or the link between our work is that we're working, if you want to call it, the discretionary luxury market. People want simple solutions, whether it's clothes or chefing, staffing. Just let them talk, listen to what they're looking for, and then it's the interpretation. When you can figure out what they're really looking for with the kind of the shortest, kind of most efficient kind of conversation, if you want to put it that way, that brings them value to it, and that's what people want, because cash rich, time poor.
I guess it's like
options
a
aren't
dish.
always
You're not
great.
going to put every herb in there. I know, it's like when I go to a restaurant, they got just tons of stuff, and you're just like,
I can't stand it. It's there's certain restaurants that I expect it from, and I'm like, all right, here we go. But a lot of the time it becomes too much. Even like the other day, text my girlfriend like, hey, like, because we're going to go out for Christmas dinner, because I'm actually working Christmas morning, and it's the first time I'm going out to a restaurant. She's super excited. I'm like a bit like, in Ireland there's not really any restaurants open, whereas in the UK they are. So I'm kind of like texting her, like, here, what you want? Like, I can't decide. She's like, there's 3 options on each, mate. Like, relax. I'm like, okay.
Pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
And with your business, because I've seen and met a few different types of company. I went to an event a few months ago, met a late, oh God, I'm probably going to get the company wrong, but Heinz, I think it was. But they kind of supplied different types of chefs to people wanting, chefs for certain evenings, etc. So what makes your business unique in your approach and what you do? Obviously, it's like the heart and understanding what that person really wants. But what else makes it unique? What's your unique selling point?
The USP.
Yeah.
I think the way the company is set up is quite interesting. It's myself, chef, no food. I understand people, as in people being the private clients, the dynamics of private households, because I've been in them for a long time. So from that point of view, I'm massively passionate about hospitality and service, which some people just won't understand. But I've always been that kind of caring person that likes to take care of people, and this is a way of me being able to do that, which I didn't realize when I became a chef that I could do. Private chefing is slightly different. I think if you look at a lot of companies like you've mentioned, there's a huge amount of people in them, and I'm not trying to bash anyone. They haven't really
Bash.
No.
I'm the same as you. Don't do
there's
that.
a lot of great ones out there, and it's a very competitive space. Like it's hugely competitive. We're really punching.
I think every market is competitive because people go, "Oh, you're in a competitive market."
Everyone says it, actually. That is true.
Yeah, and then you can go, "Oh, I won't do it then."
Yeah, I guess kind of for us, what stands out is like a lot of people who work in like companies that are similar to ours haven't worked in, kitchens or private households, and they haven't like actually met many private clients who are looking for these kind of services. So it's like, for me, I'm like, how do you understand it then? How smart can you be? How intuitive can you be without having any of that exposure? Which I have a huge amount of it. Now, I'm founder and director of a business, but I would never describe myself as a businessman at all or business person. I'm terrible with numbers.
Yeah.
Like, accounting is like the bane of my life.
Snap, I've failed maths. I actually have nightmares still that I will have to reset my GCSEs. I can't. And my kids go, "Mum, can you help me on my maths homework?" I'm, nope.
Yeah.
But I can do a nice little sketchy there.
I have had that where I've had to, like, in my dream, resit maths exams.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
awful.
No. So I have my best lifelong friend, Elliot Murphy Kerry. We've known each other now 25 years. We're both from the same town in Ireland called Portlaoise. He's a director at Google. He is wickedly smart, savvy with numbers, great at business. But the most importantly is we share the same values in a lot of ways.
Yes.
He understands who I am as a person, kind of very passionate, sensitive, emotional, kind of driven person. He's the opposite. Like, he's the kind of patient, kind of like, no, let's not do that idea.
Which sometimes can be a bit boring. You're like, why are you holding me back? I say to my ops manager, Kate, I'm like, why are you sabotaging? She laughs. Yeah. But you need some restrictions, right?
You do. You need that soundboard.
Yeah.
Because like yourself, I think I have these ideas in my head and I wake up with them sometimes. So I don't know where to that's great. Ring Elliot at 8:30. He's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, what if we try this? And he was like, maybe next year. That's really important.
Which means never, probably.
Yeah, probably. And then by lunchtime, I'm like, that's not happening. So I think like we have a kind of setup where we have a person who is very focused on the business, how to develop some business strategy. Accounting is really important as much as I do not like it. And then there's myself, and then we've recently set up in New York as well. So we're kind of have a manifest chef in the States, which is incredible, daunting for me. But again, I'm really enjoying it. But there's a lot of late night phone calls with chefs for interviews, like 2 and 3 a.m.
I love New York. How cool. How often do you go over there?
I probably probably every 6 weeks.
Nice.
Maybe even a little bit. I'd like to go more.
My brother lives there. You should go and see him one time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's the most energizing place I've ever been.
I love the way they just like sing on the tube, and it's like watching a concert sometimes. You don't realise how clean London is until you come back from New York.
That's one of the things I noticed.
They're like, be on the street and go, hey, you want to go do lunch? Okay, maybe not that. Maybe that just happens to me, but I'm like, yeah, sure, right.
It is intense. It's I just got there and I was just like, I didn't want to get a taxi from JFK I was staying at the Grand Hyatt. So I was like, I'll just get the trains. There's 3 trains and had like massive luggage, and one wheel was broke on one of them, on the big one. And I'm going down through like, Jamaica, Queens. And I was like, this is just culturally insane and intense. And it was really hot. Didn't realize how hot New York gets.
Yeah, it's one extreme to the other, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was there recently, it was like really cold.
My brother laughed at me because the very first time I went to visit him, and I was like, do I need a bulletproof vest? And he went, you've been watching way too many. But their taxis are quite scary, like the grid. But I was like, this is just so cool.
I love the subway. I think it's really
wild.
Cool. Like, just when it's cold out there, you go to the subway and you're roasting hot. You're like, oh, that's quite nice. I'll just walk around for a few minutes. I can't figure it out though. I get lost in it all the time. London's, I think, quite simple to tube, but I still get mixed up sometimes, but I think that's me in a nutshell anyways. That's a me problem, not a directional problem, like a instructional problem. But yeah, New York is fun, and the food. The food is incredible. There's a lot of great clients out there who really value private chefs and like what private chefs can bring to the table, like from just keeping things interesting food-wise, you know, keeping things healthy, like focusing on foundational nutrition and health.
I think that's a key thing actually, because you know, anytime it's still just seriously lacking me, like I'm starving, and as I told you earlier, I ordered a Nando's in my home yesterday because I'm so hungry. But you know,
does Nando's travel well?
Yeah, I mean, if I ate it in about 10 seconds and had height,
So you basically inhaled it. Yeah,
I did inhale a sunset burger. So coming back to business, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to someone wanting to start up a business?
Don't rush. Do it when you're ready. I've been told by people to do basically or start up Manifest, even though I didn't have a name for years, because I was joining up private chefs or chef mates and clients for a long time, and I just enjoyed it. And again, to mention Kirsty Stanley Hughes again, she really taught me a lot about the market, how it works, and how to kind of bridge the gap, you know, when it comes to contracts and that between clients and private chefs. And she said, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
You're a matchmaker. And she goes, and that's the key.
You're a natural connector type, which is like instinctive. I think you're just like, you'd be, this works. Like,
people tend to focus on like, oh, it's the food for that chef cooks. It's like, it's your home. They're in your kitchen. For a lot of people, particularly if there's like kids, that's the hub of the household. It's like where all the kind of chaos happens, arguments, like, you know, the spilled milk, all these things happen. The personality is really important. So you are trying to matchmake, and then just find a chef who kind of, you know, who's really important, that there to leave the ego at the door. And I was good at that. So kind of long story short, I just literally woke up one day and I rang again Elliot and said, ready to crack on. Like, let's get it done.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm glad you got there eventually.
It's interesting actually, because a couple of guests have said, do it when you're ready, do it when you've got the finances. Most people, and I'm like, nah, it doesn't really work like that. You just go, I'm going to do it, because I think it's part of the entrepreneurial spirit. You just like, book it. I'm going to go for it because I want to. And I am a big believer that things just evolve. There's no perfection, which is a bit ironic given what I said before. But that it has to just evolve, and no one's just watching with their microscope, watching every single part. So it's just start and move on with it.
Well, it's once you start, the journey has begun, right? And then you can kind of like, you can figure out the rest from there. And again, it's like having people that you can ask questions and go to, saying like, here, I'm in the dark here, don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's nice that you've got people that are supporting you. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I've done it all alone.
Well, that's fair play. I wouldn't be able to.
I don't know how sometimes. But the thing is, like, it was 17 years ago. I was 26. I was a baby. And, you know, I was much more bolder, you know, when you don't have kids and things like that. So it's just
ignorance
like, I don't
bliss,
care.
though.
Yeah, complete ignorance. And then you do just get a little bit more like, as you get older. But fear is just something to monitor. And my mantra now is like, I'm not scared. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes next. And it kind of helps me move forward without feeling completely terrified.
Yeah, and I think when you realize that a lot of things that go on, like this is very much a first world problem. This isn't in 6 months' time. This is going to be a blip, and I'll probably forget about it.
Gratitude is key when it comes to that, because you can be like, why didn't this go right? And it's like, actually, I think it's a great thing. I try to like write a little list morning and night. Go, oh, that happened. That was really lovely. You know,
it's a really
simple
interesting
things.
habit to do, and that's like positive reinforcement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think as a business owner, don't give yourself enough credit. Celebrating yourself is not really sort of encouraged, but I think it's
I don't think I'll ever be able to do it, even if I tried.
Yeah.
Because I hear that quite a lot. It's like, give yourself a pat on the back, and I'm like, no, we need to push on. We need to be better. You know, we need to we need to be busier. And busier isn't like doing more placements, right? It's like just how can we improve our service? How can we do better with the chef, better with the client? There's this personal development as well. It's tied into being your own business owner, isn't it? It's kind of this forever revolving door.
Definitely, yeah. And moving on to clothing, naturally.
Here we go.
And I know you're like, oh, what I'm going to wear?
Why am I here?
I have the same problem. The irony is that, I design tailor and style for clients every day, and my whole message is basically like, just open your wardrobe. It should be nice and easy. I make it easy for you. But I look in my wardrobe and go, it's like white noise. I don't know what to wear. Sometimes I don't know what I feel like, so it's a bit like the carpenter's work is never done. So with what you do and, when you see your clients, like does your image come into play? Do you think, how am I looking as part of my brand, but not also looking, but how do you feel? Is that important to you? Do you think your clients care?
I think some of them do, yeah. I think it's I do think it's quite important. I think particularly now as a business owner, as a brand owner, it's an image, but it should reflect who you are. Like, I'm quite a casual, simple kind of person, and I'm not very sophisticated, not very complex.
You wore a suit when we first met.
I did.
So that was nice and
it's for the occasion though.
Laid back.
I was meeting a tailor.
Oh, okay. I was like, who are you meeting? Oh, it was me.
No, I had a meeting. Who was it? That was a pretty stacked day, actually. That was one of those days where it's like, you don't have a meeting for a week and then you have like 3 or 4 one
Everyone,
day.
yeah.
Yeah. And I had just bought that suit as well. So it was a good excuse.
Pull the tag off.
Exactly, yeah. I do think it's important. I think also kind of understanding who the client is. How important is it to them? Not overdoing it. You're kind of going in as a private chef. You want to look clean and smart.
Yeah.
I think always being presentable, like having your beard shaven or trimmed and your hair gelled, those kind of things go a long way.
Yeah.
And then it's like kind of fashion and personal style, it's like kind of do what you want in a way, really. But
yeah, I guess they're not necessarily expecting you to go in your chef whites or something. You could have like a really cool, crisp white suit. You go and have an edge.
yeah. And it's interesting because I know some private chefs that they love that. They love like everything being crisp and they have their really kind of nice, expensive chef jacket. A lot of my clients, they've said to me over the years, like, you don't have to wear a chef jacket.
Very good. I know. I used to not be able to. I worked at like Harvey Nichols and Harrods, and there was something very rebellious about me in that. And they do uniform checks, so they'd usually ask you to take your jacket off, check your shirt, etc. I'd iron just the front because I was like, I hate wearing this. It's so boring. Black is not my color. So I'd always be like, please don't ask me to take my jacket off because the back will be wrinkly, which is very ironic.
Time efficient though. I can appreciate that.
But it lacked personality. So I just feel like in me was going, I don't want to wear this. This is so, it's just a strange thing. So uniforms, I get it. But I don't think it's for business owners. Really.
I have a client who is a big comic book fan. So whenever I go there, I wear my comic book t-shirts.
Yeah.
We just have a conversation about it and it's good fun. Now I always end up spilling something on it, but it's black, so it kind of doesn't show too much. You can wipe it off and it's fine. But yeah, I think it's down to the occasion, who you're there for, and how are you feeling at the time? Because what you're wearing is kind of a reflection of you at the time, isn't it? So it's kind of you feeling bubbly and happy, or are you feeling kind of like chill, or are you dressing to impress, or trying to look sophisticated, or like, I don't know.
Sophisticated. And how's your style evolved over the years? Is it something you've become more conscious of, given what you do? Like, I've really got to kind of not dress the part, because as you said, it's a bit more laid back. You're not working in a, corporate environment. You're trying to show your personality. But have you given that more thought, or?
I think, honestly, I think it's the last year really for me that's become kind of a bigger part of the picture and something that I think about more. before that, I was always, I think, like people that would describe me as like very, very casual and chilled. And I actually strangely get really attached to kind of clothing and things because they're like, they represent memories for me. I got that here, I got that there. I still have stuff from like 15, 20 years ago plus in my wardrobe that has traveled all over the world with me that will never be worn again unless I'm walking around the house by myself or the flat. It's become more important to me. And again, I think it reflects who you are and where you are in that time of your life. You know, I'm a big Chelsea boot fan. I always have been in jeans and got these there a while ago.
I encourage Chelsea boots. Quite a lot of clients, they're like, I don't know what to wear, you know, with jeans. And I was like, Chelsea boots just look great. Just get every colour. It's just like, get your formula in place. It's nice and easy.
I've always wanted a pair of Lanks and I got them. And they're kind of a little bit of a labour of love. You need to kind of break them in because they're quite tough on the top.
Yeah, they look quite solid.
They are solid.
What's the brand, sorry?
Lanks, LANX.
Not heard of that.
Super comfy, really good quality. Just take a bit of work to get them to actually feel comfortable for a while, to be honest.
Be like, I can get through
this. I can walk in these. So.
And what do you think your image says about you? Is that something you thought about?
Oh, I don't want to think about that. I think that's something I don't want to go too deep on. I don't take myself too seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
You should dress up as the Grinch then. It's like, it's Christmas. When you said about a costume, I was like, just saw you in a Grinch.
That is,
not that you are a Grinch.
No, is that a compliment?
It's only because I've actually dressed up as a Grinch.
That is something that I would do though, just to make people laugh.
Like it would. Maybe I was tuning.
Yeah, no, it's just, I'm a bit of a fool when it comes to certain things and I don't mind that at all. If it's going to make people laugh and happy, I'm more than willing to jump head in.
I'm the same. Actually, this was one of the crazy moments I did have my business because I was like, maybe we just like show that we really have more fun. So I ordered a Grinch costume, and being as tall as I am, it was interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
So I did a dance routine to one of the Grinch songs in the modern film. And I videoed myself, and the team were like, oh my God, it's hilarious. You've got to put it on socials. I was like, I don't know if I can. I mean, I think I put it on TikTok, which no longer exists. So no one can find it. What? But my marketing assistant still has it somewhere. So
you gotta put that one up for Christmas.
Arm is twisted. Yeah, we'll see.
Good promotional material. You made the costume yourself. You know, it's great material.
The moves were pretty good too.
It's like
it's bespoke. I can do this fairy Grinch outfit.
I've actually never watched a movie.
Oh my gosh, you need to. I love it. Talk about you're a big heart guy. Like this is actually perfect.
But it was like I guess it's because like I'm very like protective over Christmas. Like, you know, like I think Christmas is all about family and that, and you know, it's even people drinking on Christmas. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?
But you're Irish and you're not drinking.
I'm Irish. Yeah, and I used to love to drink big time. But I was always and I'm sober almost 5 years. But even when I was drinking, I was always like, why are you drinking Christmas Day? I was like, you can't drink at home at Christmas or the cinema. But the Grinch, I just think is like, it just used to freak me out as a kid. Yeah. So I was like,
watch it in the summer then.
Yeah, Christmas movie in the summer.
Yeah. And be honest, since you knew you'd be on this podcast, have you thought more about the way you dress in the last week than you have in the last 10 years?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was reflected through a WhatsApp message there. Like, I was like, I'm really nervous. What am I supposed to wear?
I'm always like, it doesn't matter. I don't judge. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think this ties into why I was saying why it's become the last year. I'm thinking about it even more than before because I do realize it is more important. It is an image. You know, being on this is quite. I said to a few of my friends, and they're like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, I have. In a really kind of good way. It's like you know, kind of I guess trying to figure things out and like looking online, like what that looks nice. I remember I messaged you was it a month or so ago? You put up a post and I was like, it wasn't about suits. It was like just like actual like kind of like handpicking certain clothing that would look well. You know, I was like, that's actually a broader view than you would expect from a tailor.
Yeah, because people go, oh, I'm good. I don't want a suit. You know, I just don't wear suits anymore. But it's like tailoring is everything. It's a piece of clothing that is tailored. I had a client say like bomber jacket.
Love a bomber jacket.
Yeah, it looks cool. I'll show you something in a minute, which means I'm very much tuned to you. Maybe not the Grinch, but and he said, Alex, why would I get a tailored bomber jacket that's this much money versus something off the peg? And I was like, tailor and the quality of the fabric, you do get a much higher level of fabric when you're paying, well, you should, a higher price, but that's not always the case in brands or anything. But it should be with bespoke. So everything essentially is tailored now. It's moved along. So without further ado, I've actually created a mood board of designs that I think would personally suit you, sir.
What? This is unexpected.
So this is the mood board. So it'd be lovely to hear honest feedback. So it's fun. There is a bomber jacket in there, and I could kind of see you in that nice sort of suede luxe bomber jacket.
That's similar to the one that you had on LinkedIn that time.
There you go.
I have loads of bomber jackets. It's been my saying for a long time.
Yeah, I tend to say like, have your formula, know the things you love, and kind of just rinse and repeat, buy multiples of them. So what do you think to the styles overall?
I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot of dark colours in there, which I've been told, because I'm basically translucent, I'm so pale, works well. But I also love a white t-shirt. I've been told that doesn't suit you, but I'm like, no, I really like them.
Well, if the t-shirt is whiter, you can't look whiter than white.
But there we go. And yeah, I was actually looking at polo next the other day and jackets.
Yeah, I've put some quite autumnal colours in there as well, because you've kind of got that tinge. Yes, you have pale, but sometimes like an Irish skin tone could be like very dark, dark eyes, very, you're not actually that translucent. You have a little flush of pink. So the autumnal warmer colours actually I felt would work very well for you. I
really like them.
Thank you.
Green as well. Is that what colour?
Yeah.
What shade of green is that?
It's a good point actually. It's kind of like a dark sort of rich.
I like that.
Green. So for our audience, tell them all how they can find you, how they can work with you, your handles.
Contrary to doing this, really shy about cameras or anything like pictures, videos, anything like that. I've never had a personal page for chefing or cooking. Very fortunate in the fact that all the work that we've done has come through referrals. We made a few people aware of what we were doing. I kind of put out the feelers and had a few phone calls with a few people that would be, kind of well known in this kind of trade and influential.
I guess it goes quite hand in hand, because people say to us, do we get a lot of referrals? And it's different industries, slightly different with referrals, because it's probably kind of a natural thing. Like, you'll talk about it. I've had amazing food. Like I had a private chef and be like, I want to know that. So some things lend more to.
I think it's just it's like that kind of, if you want to call it the trusted advisor relationship. The thing that I'm a big believer in is meeting someone, shaking their hand, having a conversation about nothing to do with chefing or private chefs. Just who are they? What do they like? How was their weekend? Yeah. And take from there.
Yeah.
And that's worked for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I think it's really exciting. And battle that fear. You can do it. And it'd be really exciting to see you grow. And let's go party in New York.
That's it. Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Alex. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Simple Guide to Looking Hot.